Hour to talk power on the Power Hour. This is week 11. 11 weeks that I've talked to a certified strength coach about strength training. And I've said it many weeks in a row. I went 20 years not asking a strength coach about strength training, which when I say it out loud, sounds ridiculous. Today's guest, Andrew Christie, strength coach at Meadow Creek High School in Georgia, the greater Atlanta area. Correct, Coach?
Yes, sir. Norcross, Georgia.
Man, happy to have you. You know, I visited a school once upon a time for Chief Pigskin in Norcross. I was at Wesleyan High School. This was way back in the day of early Chief Pigskin days. And I visited a guy named Frank Pridgeon, I think his name was. I'm not sure if he's still there. But beautiful private school. Looked a lot more like college than it did.
Yes. They have a nice setup over there.
And is it nicer than your setup?
They have a nice setup over there.
Well, if you work at a public school, I cannot imagine it could be anywhere what Wesleyan is. Well, Coach is at Meadow Creek, and Coach is talking today about installing a strength plan and kind of along those lines, like no matter what you have, whether you've got all the bells and whistles or you don't have any of them. And listen, Coach, man, my first head coaching job, the weight room was no bigger than my current bedroom. It had one squat rack and one bench press in it. And now I was only at a school of 200, but I still had a football team of 40 guys. And it was one bench press and one squat rack and a couple dumbbells. So I've been at it all. I've been at big schools. I've been in big suburban schools, and I've been there. And I've been everywhere. Coach, how would you describe your current weight room situation?
So right now we're pretty fortunate. We have a pretty good setup. So we're a 7A school with an enrollment around 2,500 to 2,800 kids. So we have probably about 2,100 square foot weight room with 9 power racks in it. And then we also have our field house is right outside of our stadium, which is a turf field, which kind of jumps into opening the box and being able to do all sorts of things.
Yes. Well, that's actually one of our strength coaches a couple of weeks ago was talking about how, strength coaches getting out of the weight room, that there's so much more they can do now. And from the sounds of it, you guys' actual athletic facilities probably are right there with Wesleyan, if not outdoing them. You just don't have the big open quad grass, I'm assuming, in between. That was kind of the cool part of the unique part of that, man. It sounds like you guys got a great little setup there and a beautiful weight room. Coach, how long have you been coaching strength?
I've been a strength coach for 7 years now. So certified, when did I get certified? Yeah, 7 years ago. 7 years ago. So.
And did you go right into high school strength coaching?
No. So I was at Methodist University in Fayetteville, North Carolina for 5 seasons. They're a D3 school in Fayetteville, North Carolina. I got out of college coaching, so I was the D-line coach, the strength coach, and had a whole recruiting area.
Okay.
So that was interesting, to say the least. It was busy.
Yeah.
So I got out of the college football and strength game and went to Terry Sanford High School in Fayetteville, North Carolina. And then from there, we're from the metro Atlanta area, my wife and I, and we wanted to get back closer to family. Because we had a little one on the way. So we moved back down here. So been down here back home for about 2 years now.
Man, well, I'll tell you what, and it sounds, and you're a coach, you said you had a practice tonight where you're using your voice quite a bit, so it's struggling a little bit. What do you coach for your current high school?
I'm our linebackers coach.
Okay.
For the football team. Yeah.
And where are you guys in your season? Did your season get a late start?
Yeah, we're pushed back about 2 weeks. So we've played 7 games.
Okay.
So we're on a bye week this week, and then we got 3 more left. So.
Wow. Man, I'm so jealous. Obviously, we're not playing, and it has been weird, but I'm not going to lie. Had a couple afternoons where I'm home at like 4 o'clock eating some snacks, and I'm like, maybe it's not so bad. Trying to make the best of no football right now, but overall, I'm pretty miserable. Coach, well, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to turn it over to you and let you coach us up on building that strength program.
All right. Sounds great.
Here we are at clinic.chiefpigskin.com. Excited to share with you our schedule real quick. When you log in, it brings you to your dashboard, and you just want to come up here to the site and click Visit Site. I know that's a little odd, but that's the way the system works. Go to videos, and you will see the now, we're so close to 200 videos. Here, these are presentations from high school and Division III college football coaches, even one or two, actually three to be exact, Division I college football coaches, and we just keep adding. Look at all these presentations that are there for you. I could go on and on. But if you go here to the schedule here coming in 2021, we're already off to a great start, and I've even booked one with Robbie Howard out of Beardstown, Illinois, who's got a program there that's really on the rise. And I haven't even added that one here, but we've got Watkins coming to our office from Chicago, Concordia University, Chicago. We're heading to New Mexico to visit two high schools, La Cueva and Cleveland, in early November, Chatham, Glenwood in January, and Owatonna out of Minnesota. You look at these little red notes here, you see how good these teams have been. State champs, 29-6 over the last 3 seasons. We're just super proud of what we're putting together. We hope you'll check us out at clinic.chiefpigskin.com. From commercial, and time to turn it over to Coach Christie. Coach, I'm excited to hear from you, so without further ado, take it away, share the screen, and it's all yours.
All right, sharing that real quick. You got me? Are we good?
Got you.
All right, so yeah, what I want to talk to everyone about tonight, all right, is just kind of building a strength program around the basics. Like, what are your essentials? What's your foundation? And what's important to you, so that anytime anything happens, we can always circle back to what our base is, what our basics are. All right, and so this kind of came about. A friend of mine and me were talking. You've had him on before, Coach. George Adams was on earlier. Okay, we were kind of talking when all this coronavirus, COVID stuff hit, about when we were going to get back, how different that was going to look. We might only have 20 minutes with the kids, and it might be only groups of 10, and we might only have 30 minutes here, and we might go. And so everything was just going to look so different. We kind of really started digging into, what do we have to get done? What do we believe in individually that you just have to get done? So we're going to kind of dive into that a little bit, talk about my situation, what we have, and just kind of how we built that from there. Okay, so the biggest, what's essential to a training program? And the cop-out sounding answer is, it depends. Because everywhere is a unique situation, and everywhere has their own limitations and or things that they can succeed with. So that's something important to think about too, when you're building a program, and when you're talking about what your foundations are. All right, is what do you have, and what kind of support do you have? And so I've been at 3 different places: Methodist University, Division III school in Fayetteville, North Carolina; Terry Sanford High School, which is a 3A school in North Carolina; and then Meadow Creek High School, which is a 7A school here in Metro Atlanta. All of them are different, but none of the weight rooms are huge. They're not like immaculate. I have listed on there, nowhere has what I wanted, everywhere had what I needed. And so I think sometimes as strength coaches, we get caught up in all the bells and whistles sometimes. The GPS, the timing systems, this equipment for this equipment for that, and I love it. I would love to have all of it. But that's just not been my reality with the places that I've been at. Okay, I've had no more than 10 racks that we're training large groups in. Sometimes my smallest group is normally 30 to 35 kids, and that can go up to 65, 70 kids really quick, depending on who's in there. Okay. But again, we had what we needed at all these places. We had barbells, we had plates, we had some dumbbells, we had some bands and some med balls. So we've never had everything I wanted, but we've always had everything I needed. And with limited equipment and or space, what do you have to get done? What can you get done? Okay. So again, I kind of alluded to it earlier. This is what kind of jump started this idea of what do you have to get done? So in early March, okay, before we got shut down, I think our last day of school was like March 12th or 14th, something like that. And then we were shut down. Until then, I had 80% of our football athletes in class 5 days a week, 70 minutes a day. So we could get all sorts of work done. Okay. That other 20% was coming after school for about 60 minutes, 3 days a week. My non-football athletes, okay, 2 to 3 days a week in class, 70 plus minutes, non-football 3 days a week in that after school program. Now we've jumped to mid-March through June. They're all at home. Okay. We're doing things. They're reporting to your sports coaches. We're doing weight checks virtually. You know, I got pictures taken of scales and all sorts of stuff. I mean, really, what are we getting done? Okay. In June 2020, football comes back, but it's limited times, limited groups, only 4 days a week. So now you take this full circle. August 2020, school starts back with a hybrid approach. So we have some people in the building, some people are still online. So the ability to get them in and lift and train with a season going on here in Georgia is different. Okay, I get them 2 days a week in the weight room for 50 minutes. So we go from approximately 350 minutes a week in March to 100 minutes a week in August. So it kind of made you think about, okay, what do we have to get done? What do I believe in? What's important to me? And what are we going to build this on? Just wanted to kind of share this too, just kind of give you all a visual. We'll talk about kind of where we are right now. This is our in-season practice plan for football. So our head coach gives me about 10 minutes on Monday post pre-practice to get 1 to 2 max effort sprints. It's quick. We get them done. Tuesday we come in. That's our heavy training day. Okay. Wednesday is our no sweat day. So we're off completely. Our walkthroughs on Wednesday. Thursday we do our very short football practice. And before practice, we get 50 minutes of training. And then on game day, I have about 15, 20 minutes with them before we go out to flex to kind of get them up, get them moving. But just kind of wanted to give you all that to see what we're working with. All right. So the biggest question is when you start talking about what are your essentials or what can you do with limited time, limited resources? Okay. What's your situation? Okay. What's your equipment, first of all? What can you get done? You might love to do safety bar split squats. Well, if you don't have safety bars, you can't do it. Okay. You might love to do box squats. Well, if you don't have boxes, either you got to build them or you got to get creative. Okay. What kind of space do you have? Is your space good enough to do Olympic lifting? What are your fields? Because like what we talked about earlier, coach, we got to get outside and we got to run and we got to move. Do you have turf? Do you have grass? Is your AD okay with you tearing up the grass? Okay. All those types of kind of logistical things that come into it. All right. And the next one's a big one. What's your sport coach support? How supportive are your sports coaches? Can you get them in there to help you? Can you write them a program and hand it to them if you can't be there all the time? What's the training age of your athletes? How long have they been trained? Okay. When I took over in North Carolina, I took over for a guy who I knew very well. The training age of their athletes was pretty high if they were a senior. Okay. Because they've been training since 7th and 8th grade in some way, shape, or form. So that was a little bit different than when I took over here to where the training age of our athletes weren't as high. All right. And the maturity level of your athletes. What can you get done? You know, that's a real thing logistically. Can your athletes handle velocity-based training? Maybe they can, maybe they can't. So that's something that you need to take into consideration. All right. And then what are the needs of your sport? Okay. As we start building these foundations, you know, what's energy system? How much of each? All right, not getting too far into the whole true strength coach talk, but What do you need? What are your strength needs? What are your power needs? How much change of directions in your sport? How much does max velocity come into it? And then your resiliency needs. What do you need to make your athletes? What do you need to approach to make your athletes as resilient as possible to injury? Okay, that's a big part of it. All right, so then this is just my process. After we answer all those questions, okay, what's your situation? What are the needs of your sport? What's your equipment? What's your space? I put it all on the board. Throw it all up there. And my board looks like this picture that I found when I put it up in my office. And then I start taking stuff off. And I put it all up there, and then I start erasing stuff. Okay, to saying this all sounds great, but can we get it done with our situation, or is it not? And normally, I'm able to kind of whittle that down into what I believe in and what we got to get done. Okay, so put it all up there, then start taking stuff off. Okay, this is us. This is me. This is what I believe in. Okay, when I put all that up on the board, is it going to come back to these? Are we going to be able to do these 6 things? We're going to sprint. We're going to sprint high speeds. We're going to sprint max velocity. We're going to Olympic lift. We're going to squat. We're going to pull. We're going to press. And we're going to do posterior chain. Okay? And when time and resources get cut down, these are the 6 things I'm always going to go back to. We got to get these done at some point during the week because they're all going to impact, okay, our performance, and they're the biggest bang for the buck. Okay, if I can sprint and I can Olympic lift and squat and pull, press, and do some posterior chain, I've hit my total body and I've hit every major movement pattern that I need to hit. Okay, now inside of that, we have all sorts of variations. We can hang clean, we can power clean, we can hang power clean, we can snatch pull, we can back squat, front squat, split leg squat, all sorts of different options. But at the end of the day, we're always going to circle back to this. And anything else normally gets cut out when time is short. Okay. Because we don't have time for it, especially in the situation that we're in right now. I get 2 50-minute sessions plus 10 minutes to run them on a Monday. I got to hit these 6 things, and that's pretty much it. And we're going to do it with great attention to detail, great intent, and we're going to get it knocked out and progress it and regress it for whatever we have and whatever athletes we have. Okay, so just kind of a sample session. Okay, I think these are actually in the wrong order. Yep, let's go here. So this was when we came back from lockdown. This was our summer when we came back. I had 30 minutes on the field and 30 minutes in the weight room. That was it, coach said. And then we had 30 minutes of football thrown in there in groups of 15 kids. Okay, so we did all of our warm up and all that. And I said, all right, we have to do change of direction. Okay, we got to get some jumps in there. We got to work on our landings. Okay, we got to be able to absorb that force. We got to do some change of direction work. And then we got to get some conditioning because we had to build that base back up. Then when we hit the weight room, all of this was done after transitions, about a 35-minute time frame. It was about all the time that we had in there. So we were going to jump. So this was early on. We were reintroducing things. And we didn't do Olympic movements this day, but on another day we did. Okay, so we were going to jump. Okay, we were going to press with the floor press. We were going to row with an inverted row. Then we were going to get our volume down at the bottom in a circuit. Okay, so we were going to press, lunge, again, working that multi-plane, building that resiliency, all right, that knee and ankle stabilization. All right, and then some posterior chain with the kettlebell swing. So again, you can kind of see what do we have to get done. They're all kind of based around that. So now we're in season. Okay, I get 50 minutes with them, but again, we're cut down. Okay, we're going to go outside. We're going to do our RPR, some mobility. Okay, a little dynamic warm up. Then we're going to come in and get our movement pattern and prehab. So we're going to work on our squat technique. We're going to get some knee stabilization with heel taps. We're going to go through a barbell warm up, and then we're going to hit some shoulder taps, and those tweak and those change every day. Kind of that prehab prep, if you will. Then again, After all that, the actual lifting part is probably only 30 minutes. So we're going to hit our cleans, we're going to squat, we're going to press and pull, and then we're going to hit some Nordics to get out. Okay, some posterior chain. Again, focusing on the fundamentals that I believe in, okay, and that I can accomplish at my space. And not deviating from those, because I could, when time's limited and resources are limited, you don't have the time or the ability to really deviate from what you know and what you know you can execute and what you got to get done. Now, if we go back to school and I'm having them 5 days a week again, 70 minutes a day, okay, we change and we do some more things. We'll have a yoga day in there. We'll probably go to the wrestling room and do some tumbling. We'll probably take some more time and do more sprint work. So in the off season, those things will change. But again, just getting back to the fundamentals of what we want to do. Okay, we're going to sprint, we're going to squat, we're going to press, we're going to pull, we're going to hit some posterior chain, we're going to hit Olympic movements. Those 6 things all the time. Okay, based around those movements. Okay, and at the end of the day, I say this all the time: simple doesn't mean easy. Okay, it just means that it's simple. Okay, because we're going to cut the fluff out. We're not going to do some of the other stuff that just kind of fills time. Okay, we're going to do things with intent and demand it from the athletes. Okay, if you do simple things with great effort, great attention to detail, you're going to be special. Okay, that's been proven over and over and over again. Okay, and when it is simple, we're going to find ways to compete at these things that the kids know how to do. Okay, we're going to group them together. We're going to time some stuff. We're going to record some times. We're going to rank them. We're going to publish them. We're going to put stuff up. And then we're going to celebrate and reward great effort and great attention to detail. Really simple. We'll just go in the coach's office, grab some Gatorades. Hey, Nate, you did great today. Here's your Gatorade. Take that. 2 claps and a Ric Flair for you. All right. And just at the end, all right, we got some old T-shirts that lay around. You know, kids always love gear. Okay, throw them a T-shirt if they have a PR, if they did something great. Okay, and then we'll have an effort and attention to detail, like rubric, to where we can score our athletes every day. You know, are you 1 or are you 5? What are you bringing to the table? All right, and then this is probably one of the most important things about it. When you're looking at building a program, do what you can coach and do it well. Run your race. Okay, I know how to coach Olympic lifts. I know how to coach a squat. So I'm going to coach the mess out of those things because I know how to do them. Some things that I'm not as proficient in, I can't coach. I might love it, but I need to go learn something more about it before I throw it in a program. Because I might not can coach it well enough. So I might have things that I want to try. And again, that gets thrown up on the whiteboard sometimes because I read it and I'm researching it and it sounds awesome. The results are great. I'm going to talk to somebody about it. But I throw it up on the whiteboard and I go through the process of trying to implement it. And I can't get there. I can't get it right. So it comes off the board. Because if I can't coach it, we shouldn't do it. Okay. And then I had an old defensive coordinator that I worked with in North Carolina. His favorite thing all the time, talking about football, but it goes for the weight room too. You got to get an A in something. Okay. You got to be great at something. We're going to be great at those 6 things that I listed out. Okay. We're going to know how to move well. We're going to know how to Olympic lift. We're going to know how to sprint. We're going to know all the details that go into those things. And that's what we're going to be great at. And so anytime that I'm building a program, anytime that my time gets cut down, I fall back on those fundamentals. And it all has to do with what can you coach? What can you implement at your place? What can your kids handle? And what can you get done in the allotted amount of time? And if you can answer those 4 questions, right, it really kind of hones in your focus for setting up a program. So that's just a little bit about how I do it, how I believe that we can kind of shrink our focus down and not get lost out in the weeds sometimes of strength and conditioning. With all the cool things and all the cool toys that are out there, it's easy to get distracted sometimes. And so at the end of the day, I always ask myself, what's my essentials? What do I believe in? What do I got to get back to? So yeah, that's what I wanted to focus on tonight, and hopefully somebody can get something out of it.
Excellent, Coach. If you just want to unshare your screen there, we're going to take a quick commercial break. And when we come back, we will be going over my page of notes and questions for Coach Christie. We will be right back.
So run the angle. This drill teaches a defender how to properly close ground on a ball carrier. There are several coaching points here. First one, track the near hip. Use images of a cheetah when hunting prey to demonstrate the best example of the near hip tracking. Close the distance while maintaining leverage. This is the biggest things where a lot of defenders struggle. They over pursue. We want to track his near hip, because if he tries to cut back, we're right there. If he keeps going, we're able to profile tackle and near peg, run him out of bounds. This is really, really crucial here. The defender cannot let the ball carrier cross his face, or else his angle, and in turn everyone else's angle, will be inaccurate. Scallop. This is a good coaching point we use here. One of our buzzwords, as the ball carrier squares his shoulders to threaten a cutback. Scallop is defined as a shuffle while continuing to close the ball carrier where your near leg and near shoulder. You want to make sure you scallop. A lot of kids now, when they stop their feet. As you sprint to scallop, then make the tackle.
Welcome back to the Power Hour. My name's Nate Albaugh, and you just heard from Andrew Christie, strength coach at Meadow Creek High School in the greater Atlanta area. Coach, great job. Love the way you're talking. I've got so many notes here. First of all, I just love that quote right out of the gates. Nowhere had what I wanted, but everywhere had what I needed. You know, sometimes things like that are just good reminders for all of us. You know, I'll never forget when I was in college, we spent, one of my best buddies and I, we were both college wrestlers, and we spent an entire summer at a summer camp. And we only had access to the local high school's weight room, which was a lot like that weight room I explained at the beginning of the year.
Right.
But my buddy he was the first one to start celebrating, and he used to always say, "It's got what we need, it's heavy." Right? And that's what he used to always say. It's got what we need. It's heavy. And when you said that, it just reminded me. And you know what, Coach? That was the summer of my life that had the greatest strength gains of any other summer. I had a buddy motivating me. We were accountable to each other. We were regular and consistent. And I think that was a great summer for me, as I think about, like, when you look at that weight room, you're like, this is the weight room. This is the place where you made the most gains. You know, horrible looking, but I love that line coming out of the gates, man. So let me just jump into some, these questions might jump around a little bit, okay? But these are some of the things that came up. First of all, you talked energy systems. I had asked one of our coaches before about energy systems, but just to remind me, the energy system, phosphogenic, glycolytic, and oxidative. Okay, give me the quick overview of what they are and what they are.
Okay, so energy system wise, I kind of think of them as steps. So phosphogenics, real quick, we're talking like you have stored energy that you're using in something under 10 seconds, 5 seconds, 6 seconds, so quick. So if I'm hitting a clean, it's phosphogenic, okay, because I'm going to hit a single, I'm going to walk away, I'm going to rest. I'm going to get fully recovered. Those energy stores are going to come back. I hit another single.
Okay.
We're good. Okay. The glycolytic or the glycolytic one, okay, a little bit longer time frame. Okay. So that's getting more into glucose breakdown of how we're doing all that. The Krebs cycle, all that's fun science stuff. But time frame wise, you know, we're talking 15-ish seconds. Okay. And then the oxidative one is what we think about if we go out and go for a jog. So all of those kind of have a different type of demand. Again, you know, I'm sure in your talks with strength strength coaches, you talked about it. The cross country team doesn't need to run the same way that the football team needs to run because there's just different demands. So when you're setting up a program, those are always need to be, in the forefront of your mind. What's the demand of the sport that you're training?
Okay, so I'm going to go from this question right in my next question. And now listen, I'm a wing T guy, and so I get a lot of crap for being a cult guy. Okay, but I saw RPR in yours, and the RPRers are becoming a cult of their own.
They are.
All of us that are not a member, can you give us all, or there's even coaches out there like very foreign to it, give us a rundown of what the heck is RPR?
Yeah, so I had kind of been introduced to it. I'm not fully in it, as you would say. Our offensive coordinator is certified. He went and learned the whole thing. So he's fully certified. So I was familiar with it, and he kind of started introducing it this summer to the guys. And they really jumped onto it. Again, kind of in very basic terms, kind of the central nervous system kind of wake up, certain little spots on the body that you can self-massage to kind of wake up. The jury's still kind of out on the impacts and all like that. I just know that if I do it, I feel better, and our kids like it, and they feel better.
What does it stand for? What's RPR stand for?
Reflexive Performance Reset.
Okay, so one of my best buddies in the world, he's all in. He's all in. He's certified, loves it. I was at his house this summer, and he's like, yeah, we go out to warm up for games, and we're like rubbing. And I'm like, yeah. That's how you warm up for games? Like, yeah. So obviously, what's that?
Did he do it to you?
No, he was trying to show me how to. He's like, first, okay, and I'm doing it, and we're in the backyard, and our wives come out, and they're like, what the hell are you guys doing? So I'm learning about this, right? Mm-hmm. But what is really happening here, like scientifically? Like, how is this helping?
So there's some fascia connections, and you get deep down into it, but essentially, like, you're stimulating certain spots on your body that neurologically are now connecting. Is kind of the idea. If you're waking it up, you're resetting your body to fire the way in the patterns that it should. In a very basic form, there is pretty much how it is. Like I said, I'm not fully certified, bought into it. Our OC kind of brought it to us. Our kids love it. They feel great with it.
And you're saying when you do it, you feel it.
I feel better. I do. If nothing else, it's a little bit of release. Feel a little bit more focused, maybe a little bit more woken up. So
okay. So, Coach, tell me the energy systems for a football player. Which energy systems are you training?
On those first two, we don't tap into oxidative very much, just because, you think about it, what average football play is, 4 to 6 seconds, and then we stand around for 25 seconds. And so everything we do is going to be some kind of interval based, some type of, we're going to sprint, recover, sprint. Okay, when we do our true conditioning work, it's always going to be based around that. Okay, but we're also, we're trying to raise the threshold of our speed too. The faster we are when we're fatigued too. And so that's kind of the whole idea with that. So we're really focusing on those first two. We don't hardly do anything that's a constant movement that would tap into that oxidative stuff, just because it's not necessary in football. We might touch some of that in the very early off season when we have like a general fitness idea, like a GPP work.
Yeah.
But that's about it.
Coach, you talked about your 6 basic things, like what are pillars, or your 6 things you got to do. I love having that. Like, these are the things these are our cores. You said, and I got a couple questions about this. First, you said Olympic lifts and squat. Now, for me, in my amateur world understanding of strength and conditioning, strength training, squat was an Olympic lift. So and when you say Olympic lift, what lifts are you in that world for you?
Okay, so cleans and jerks and snatches are like the true Olympic lifts.
Like truly the ones they compete in the Olympics.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So when I say that, and all the variations that you can hit off of those.
Now, do you guys snatch? Because a lot of programs I've seen will avoid the snatch. Maybe they're just worried about throwing weight above their head. I don't know.
I started introducing it a little bit this year. We keep it very light. It's a hang snatch. I think it's a great way to move lighter weight very fast with some good intent. But we're never going to, as I see it right now, I shouldn't say never because you never know where things go, but as I see it right now, that'll never be a quote testable lift for us.
Okay, sure.
Kind of be on a speed day, something that we're going to hit fast.
Yeah, I like that.
So.
Coach, I have some kids that on the snatch struggle to get to this lockout position.
Mm-hmm.
Any tips on helping kids get to it? Is it just reps?
Reps, check their grip width when they're gripping it. Okay. Some of them, a lot of kids have really tight shoulders, really tight scapulas. So a little bit of mobility work can help them get back in there.
Okay.
One of the biggest cues that I heard that kind of helps guys is that if you're standing next to a person and they have the bar over the head in a snatch, you want to be able to see their ear, but not the back of their head.
Oh, okay. I like that.
So that kind of gives them a point of reference because, you see kids, some kids are way out in front, some kids are way back behind. I want to be able to see your ear, but not the back of your head.
I like that.
So you kind of see them, they play with it, and they're, oh, that's it. And we'll start that with a PVC pipe. So like we'll do PVC pipe overhead squats like in our preps and warm-ups. So it wasn't foreign to them. That position was not foreign to them when we went to light snatches.
Yeah. Now listen, the sixth thing in your list was posterior chain.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to ask the basic questions because if I have any uncertainty, I'm going to ask it. So when you say posterior chain, I'm like 80% sure I know what you're talking about, but I might as well ask to make sure. Posterior chain is going to include, and why is it important?
Okay, so it's basically anything from your skull down through your Achilles. Okay, but we're talking everything in the back of your body, that whole chain of muscles that's all kind of connected back there. But we're going to really focus on hamstrings, glutes, low back. And we're going to hit that at least 2 times a week. Take the time to really strengthen those. That we're well-rounded. Okay, especially high school athletes. A lot of them are very quad dominant because they like the mirror muscles.
Yes.
They like to look good in the mirror. Well, we need to be balanced everywhere. So we're going to make sure that we take the time to do those and focus on those things.
Yeah, Coach Missy Macbeth, who was on the Power Hour, said that it's the back of the what was it? It's your backside muscles that make you an athlete. There was something to that effect, and I thought, then that's that same thing. It's like that's
right. So
that's that posterior chain.
Right. If you think about it, good athletes, when you look at them from behind, you can tell if they're a good athlete.
Yes.
Their shoulders, their back, their glutes, their hamstrings, they got a different look than normal people walking around.
Yes, exactly. And that's what my son, as thin as can be, but you can tell he's strong because he can't get pants to fit, right? Thighs and butt's big, and that means, you probably got a strong kid on your hands. Coach, you had said also, you mentioned really quickly in passing, you said finish with Nordics. I just thought, what's a Nordic?
Like the Nordic hamstring curls or the partner eccentric GHRs.
Oh, okay. GHR, what's that stand for?
Glute ham raise.
Oh, glute ham raise. Yeah. Okay. See,
so we just do them partner on the ground.
Yeah, I like those.
Like the eccentric on the way down. So we'll normally hit those just 2 sets of 3, like on our one day. And if those kids do them with great intent, that's really all we need. That one picture that I put in our video was a sophomore that we had that went all the way down, touched his nose to the ground, and then came back up with no hands. So if you do them with that much intent, that's enough volume for you.
Okay, so let me ask this question. I feel like all the fitness moms out there, if you would ask them to say, hey, what are the 6 cores of building a strength program? I feel like every fitness mom in America would be like, okay, number 1, core. But I didn't see core, abs, whatever, in your 6. So just wanted to ask that.
Yeah, I mean, so obviously we're going to do some core work, but that's going to come from more stabilization work. We're going to hit our front planks, our anti-rotation stuff. But those are going to kind of get lumped in as like the superset stuff. So when we back squat, we might also do a dead bug with it. to work on that core work. But then also, I mean, the stabilization and the learning to brace from squatting and Olympic lifting is also going to teach you to stabilize. So,
yeah.
mhm.
Great, man. Well, I'll tell you what. Oh, the last question on my list. Last question.
Yep.
In your weight room,
Mhm.
how do you motivate attendance and strength gains? You mentioned like a T-shirt here and there, but I guess I was more asking maybe attendance over the summer. Like, do you have any intrinsic or things that you use that are good motivators?
Yeah, so our head football coach does a great thing with our football team that over the summer, we keep a very strict attendance record. And he has like an Iron Mustang Club. And kids that make, I forget the percentage, I think it's 90 or 85% of the program, and or have a total on bench, squat, and clean over a certain number. On picture day, he gets them all together, takes a cool picture kind of in front of a green screen, and then edits it out. And he gets it printed out huge, like huge banner. And he puts it up in the weight room for the next year. So those kids that are there, they're in the weight room the rest of the year. And the old ones are scattered throughout our facility. There's two in the hallway, one in the team meeting room from years before. So those guys that made a commitment to that are always up and are always there. That's what we do in the summer. I mentioned a little bit. We also have a rubric. I can't think of the guy's name who I got it from right now. It'll come to me later as soon as we get off. But essentially, participation, effort, attention to detail rubric 1 through 5. Hey, this is our standard in punctuality. When you get here and you get here on time, this is a 0, this is a 5. Effort, this is a 0, this is a 5. Attention to detail, this is a 0, this is a 5. And being a great teammate, this is a 0 and this is a 5. And so in the winter, in the spring, I'll score them every day. Were you proficient? And were you living up to our standard? 5 would be off the charts, great. 3, you came in, did your job, you're a good teammate. 4, you were awesome, you were somewhat leader. Okay. Anything less than that 3, you're not really pulling your weight. And what we'll do is we'll tally those numbers at the end of the week, and I'll put them up in the locker room for everybody to kind of see, hey, who's missing, who's not doing right, who is doing what they need to be doing, and who's being a great leader. And we roll that into our off-season competition. So those point totals get added in for, like we do like a Mustangs games. So good grades, community service, things like that. You get points for your team. Well, your weight room score also gets rolled into that. So kind of that accountability of, hey, are you upholding our standard, and are you doing things the way that we need them to be done?
I like that. Even just the punctuality piece, that's a big deal, man.
Right.
I tell you what, I would love to put my own son on that, because my son is kind of in the ballpark sometimes, and I try to stay hands off, where it's like he's one of the strongest dudes, and he just kind of takes, you can see maybe the urgency is wearing off in him, like, and I try to stay out, but I'm like, hey, let's go, right? I feel like rubric wise, he was once here, and he probably is,
right. And the biggest thing that we do with that, and the kids struggle to understand it, but if you're a 2 in anything, that's the highest you can get all day, because you can't be great if you're not great at everything that our standard upholds.
Yeah.
So if you were late, you can't get a 5. It just can't happen, because everything matters. So you got to get here on time, and you got to do it the right way.
I like that. Well, Coach, I had a great time talking with you today, man. Any closing thoughts before we let you go?
No, man, I just appreciate you having me on, man. Appreciate the opportunity to share and talk with some people. So just thanks for having me on.
Yeah, and where can everybody look you up?
So I'm on Twitter. I forget my Twitter handle. I know that's bad.
I can look it up real quick.
Yeah.
Too. Here you are. Andrew Christie, let's see, at Coach_A Christie.
Yep. So I'm on there. That's the best place to find me. So if y'all want to look me up and see what we got going on at Meadow Creek, that'd be great.
Excellent. You guys look him up, fellas. Everybody appreciate, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. If you could like, subscribe, those things really help. Look us up on Twitter at The Chief Pigskin. I've had a great time, Coach Christie, man. Best of luck to you guys. You got 3 weeks to go, and then hopefully some postseason ball for you guys.
That's the plan. That's the plan. So we'll see what happens, but if we take care of business, we'll be in. So
that's exciting, man. Well, I'm going to be keeping tabs on you. Everybody else, join us next week for another Power Hour. Actually, while you were speaking, it dawned on me, this is actually week 12. I set out to do 12 weeks, but now I'm like, yeah, I may just keep going because I got a handful more people that are kind of willing to share, and I like it. I like it. It's going well, and I'm learning so much. So we'll see what it comes. Maybe you're the last one, Coach. Maybe we're going to have more. We'll see, but I thought you did a great job, and we hope to keep in touch.
All right. Thanks.